Oh, how wonderful. Joyous news. Just keep blending and blending and blending and blending and blending and it would be fine. Hello, welcome back to my channel. Thank you so much for being here. That was super sweet of you. Oh my goodness, what an exciting video I have for you today. But first, let's talk about all of the freaking purple things that I'm wearing because I just can't seem to let you guys forget that purple is my favorite color. And I'm doing that by wearing these little purple earrings. These are from Saturday and Sun. They are so cute. They have little blue roses on them and a little purple ring. Oh, how fun. I get the purple eyeshadow on. I get the purple lip on. I get the purple butterfly clips in. I got the only purple shirt I own for some reason. I don't know why purple's my favorite color, but I only own one shirt and I wore this shirt like 2 videos ago. So Lizzie McGuire is an outfit repeater and so am I, but I'm okay with it because this shirt is fun, makes me feel very witchy, very glamorous. I feel like I'm ready to cast spells on you and I love that for me. But that's not what this video is about. You did not click on this video to find out how witchy and mystical and magical I feel in my purple shirt. No, you clicked on this video because you, like me, have a love for purple eyeshadows and want to see me dupe out the new Menagerie Cosmetics Flight Club palette. So if you're new to my channel, hi, hello, my name is Giovanna. I'm a Virgo Sun, Sagittarius Moon, Libra Rising, and also I'm on a makeup low buy this year. So I've been really trying to not buy a bunch of new makeup, especially eyeshadow palettes, because I bought so many eyeshadow palettes last year, I think 13 to be specific. So whenever a new eyeshadow palette comes out, I try to look to my collection first, you know, to see if I can dupe it out. And the last time I did that was with the Kaleidos Club Nebula palette. I was able to dupe out that palette. That video was super fun. I'll link it down below if you're interested. And since the release of the Club Nebula palette, it took a while for me to find another palette that I was excited about and wanted to dupe out again. But as soon as I saw the Flight Club palette, I was like, ooh, I want that, but also I'm pretty sure I have it. So that's what we're gonna be doing here today. I got a big stack of eyeshadow palettes here that we are gonna be going through, and we're gonna see if I can't dupe this palette out. So if that sounds like a topic that is interesting to you and you wanna see me dupe out the new Menagerie Cosmetics Flight Club palette, then I encourage you to please subscribe and keep on watching. It's coming at you right now. All right, let me scooch the camera over here so I can display this beautiful photo of the swatches from the Menagerie Cosmetics Flight Club palette. Now, I'll give the same disclaimer that I gave with the Club Nebula duping video. I think this palette is absolutely beautiful, and if you want to pick it up, I think that's amazing for you. I'm just on my makeup low buy, so I'm trying to see if I can dupe it out, but I super respect and admire the creativity of the brand Menagerie Cosmetics. I think they put together such a beautiful color story. Obviously, that's why I'm trying to dupe it out, because I love the color story. But yeah, I think this palette is absolutely beautiful. All of the applause and kudos in the world to Menagerie Cosmetics. Congratulations on a beautiful palette. Now, I do have a couple gripes with it, and that's gonna take us to our first swatch on this arm swatch here, which is like the cream colored shade. I wish palettes would just stop including this shade. I think it's just a waste of space. You know, I get it, you're trying to make a palette cohesive, yada yada yada, but also that shade's not gonna work for everyone. Like, not that somebody with a deeper skin tone than this couldn't use this shade, but just like, it doesn't really fit to me, you know? I feel like they could have replaced that shade with a deeper matte purple, and I think that would have been better, but that's just my preference. I am going to try to completely dupe these swatches, like what the palette actually is, but I just wanted to make that note that I think you could have gotten rid of that cream shade and done a deeper matte shade, but that is just my opinion, and that's not what this video is about. So let me just swatch my cream shade. I got one from the Zodiac Cosmetics Virgo palette. I feel like you're not even really gonna be able to see it. In fact, it was funny, when I was looking at the picture on Menagerie Cosmetics Instagram, I saw somebody comment saying, why are there only 11 shades swatched? Because they couldn't even see the cream shade because it just blended in with a person's arm. And look, it's doing the same thing with me, because I think shades like this are just so wasteful. I'm like, you don't even see it, but I swatched it for you. So this is the cream shade. Okay, moving on to more exciting shades. Now for that second shade, that matte is, I will admit, that's a really pretty matte kind of like pinky purple shade, giving me kind of like orchid lily vibes, you know, like if an orchid and a lily, oh, what do you call that? Cross-pollinated. I did a project on that in 8th grade. Wow, little random fact, little nugget in the back of my mind that just jumped out. If you cross-pollinated an orchid and a lily, I think it would be that second color on the arm swatch. Oh my goodness. So what I'm gonna do is cross-pollinate these two shades from my Menagerie Cosmetics Flower Bomb palette. So I'm gonna dip my fingers into the shade Orchid and then lightly into the shade Daisy. I know, almost an exact real life metaphor of what I was just talking about, but close enough. So now I'm gonna swatch those together, and I personally don't mind that I'm mixing colors. I know in my last dupes video, like in my Kaleidos Club Nebula video, I really tried to just stick to one color dupes, but you know what, I was thinking about it and I'm like, when do I ever do my makeup with one color? Like, I always mix colors together, so I would rather get the color exactly right than try to stick to just one color dupe. Now I do have single colors for most of these, but I'm just giving that disclaimer. You know me, I'm a Virgo, I'm full of disclaimers. Okay, so I'll try to put the picture back on the screen so you can look at them side by side. This is my version of that matte shade, and this is their version of that matte shade. Now it is a cloudy day outside today, so I'll be sure to take some nice pictures on my camera afterwards, and we can put them on the screen when I'm all done so you can really get a good vibe for the colors and have them look a little more vibrant. But for now, I'm just gonna go through and swatch everything. And with a couple of these colors that I'm gonna be swatching today, I'm wearing them on my eyes, so I'll be sure to insert clips of me applying them for your viewing pleasure. All right, so now moving on to that next matte shade, the third matte shade down. Again, I know it's hard to see because you can barely see that cream shade, but we are in the third shade. For my dupe, for that shade, I'm gonna be dipping into my Amorous Beauty Lady Boss palette, which I got in my Cheeky Beauty box. Go check out that video if you haven't seen it. I'm all plugs today. Look at me plugging away. But this is the shade Hustle in the Lady Boss palette, and I thought this was just a perfect dupe for that shade. Now, this is not really a shade that I wear often, but again, like I said, I'm just trying to dupe all the shades in the palette. This, you know, kind of another reason why I'm not buying the palette. If there's ever a palette where there's like 3 or more shades that I wouldn't use, then I try not to buy it. And I feel like with this palette, there's like exactly 3 shades that I wouldn't use, and this is one of them, and this is one of them, and the next shade I'm gonna swatch is also gonna be one of them. Here's your little taupey shade, just like they got there. Mine actually looks a little deeper, but you know what? I could always shear it out and make it look exactly the same. Now moving on to the next shade, which I was just telling you is also a shade I don't really care for. Because it's like a grayish purple, which, you know, is totally fine. I understand its place, you know, but I'm a vibrant colors type of lady. I don't find myself reaching for gray tone purples very often. Thus why I don't reach for my ColourPop So Jaded palette very often, but the shade Ametrine in this palette looks pretty identical to the one in the Menagerie palette. The only difference is this is a sequin shade, which please, for the love of God, ColourPop, stop it with the sequin shades. I really don't like this sequin formula. I know the sequin formula is divisive. I know some people like it, some people say it blends better, but I'm like, just make better mattes if you need to add glitter to make them blend better. But that is besides the point. That's not what this video is about. Okay, let me swatch Ametrine for you so you can see. Yeah, you can see I got a little gray tone purple going on here. I could do better swatches. This looks so messy. Oh no. So that is our next matte shade in the swatches here. Now we get to move on to some shimmers. Huzzah, I'm so excited. Ooh, I'm so excited to show you these shimmer dupes I have. I have some really good ones. Okay, so actually the next 2 shimmers in this beautiful arm swatch here, I'm gonna be taking both of them from the Shroud Cosmetics X Beauty Bean It's Freaking Bats palette. I love this palette. So the next 2 shades are literally just remind me exactly of these 2 duochromes from the It's Freaking Bats palette. So the first one looks more like Zero to me, looks like a beautiful purpley blue duochrome, and these guys are my freaking kryptonite. These are my favorite types of duochrome shades. Oh my gosh, I could wear this shade every single day of the week. I don't, because I try to keep things fresh, but if I had to wear only one eyeshadow for the rest of my life, I'm pretty sure it would be Zero. zero from the It's Freaking Bats palette because, oh, I mean, it's just so pretty. And doesn't it look like the one in the arm swatch? I was amazed. I was like, wow, the fact that those two shades are right next to each other and they're both from the It's Freaking Bats palette, amazing. Obviously, companies start production really far out. I know they start like at least a year in advance, so I know that they didn't copy them or anything. I just think that's funny. You know, it must be the 2021 trend, maybe, I don't know. But okay, so that was 0. And then the shade under that, I think looks exactly like Apparition from the It's Freaking Bats palette. This shade right here, which is this beautiful purpley gold duochrome. Oh my gosh, I don't even have words to describe this shade. So let me just swatch it for you since I can't speak about it. I mean, get a freaking load of that duochrome. Look at that gold in the center. Ooh, it's so pretty. I love this shade. Okay, so let's do a side by side. I'll put the picture of the arm swatches on the screen again. I mean, I don't know. I really feel like these two shimmers look like exactly the same. I think they look so similar, and I love that for me because I have so much of the palette. But okay, so now let's move on to that matte purple under those two shimmers on the arm swatches. And I already know I got a perfect dupe for that. That is what like started this whole video, as I saw that shade and I was like, oh, you mean the Radioactive palette by Mellow Ops? Like, that is the shade Ultraviolet to a T. So let me swatch it for you. This is the shade Ultraviolet. Isn't she so pretty? I'm actually wearing this shade all up in my crease today. I also have it on my lower lash line. I'll insert a brief clip here. You can see me applying it. It's such a beautiful shade. It is so pretty. I love the by Mellow Ops eyeshadow formula. I think it blends effortlessly. But let me swatch this beautiful Ultraviolet shade for you. What a good swatch, oh my gosh. So this is Ultraviolet. She's absolutely beautiful. She's kind of like a pinky purple. Would you call that magenta? Is this magenta? Editing me, can we get a shot of magenta here for the folks at home? Is it magenta? I don't know. It might be a little more purpley than magenta, but I like that it's kind of like a pinky purple, you know? Something that attracted me to this palette, but lucky for me, I already have this shade. Okay, so now we're gonna move on to that more blue toned purple matte underneath there. And so for this beautiful purpley blue matte shade, I'm gonna do a little bit of mixology because I don't have a dupe that's exactly that on its own. And we're going back into the by Mellow Ops palette and we're going back into that Ultraviolet shade. And basically what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put Ultraviolet down first and then I'm gonna top it with a little bit of Cosmic because these colors mixed together, ugh, such a beautiful indigo-ish purple. Okay, so as you can see, oh wow, look at the difference. I'm just kidding, they're the same colors. Okay, okay, so now I'm dipping into Cosmic here from the by Mellow Ops palette and we're gonna layer that over. Might have added a bit too much there. That's okay, I'll work it out. I'll do a little back and forth. Yeah, okay, so I added too much blue. It's fine, it's fine, it's fine. Don't freak out about it. Okay, so I'm just adding a little more purple. I feel pretty good about that. I like that purple matte shade. Okay, you know what? Let's move on. I'm satisfied to that other matte shade underneath the purplish blue matte. And I believe for that one, I'm gonna dip into my Menagerie Cosmetics Flower Bomb palette again. That's such a pretty shade. I'm wearing that one on my lid today and topped with something else special, which we'll get to. But that is the shade Dahlia from the Menagerie Cosmetics Flower Bomb palette. I have that one in my crease. I also have it on my lid. I have a shimmer over it as well. I love a red toned purple. I think it's absolutely beautiful and I'm psyched to be swatching it for you right here. So I think this color is really beautiful. I do feel like the one in the Flight Club palette is a little less vibrant. So, you know, I was actually between Dahlia and the shade Desire in the Virgo palette from Zodiac Cosmetics. So I'm gonna top it with a little bit of Desire just to try to deepen it up. Just gonna add a little bit of Desire there. I'm not even gonna use all that was on my finger. I feel like I took a little too much, made that mistake with the last shade. But yeah, just adding a little bit of that shade to deepen it up. Yes, okay, it's perfect now. Desire would have been a little too deep on its own, but Dahlia was a little too vibrant on its own, and now I feel like I've captured it perfectly. Oh, how wonderful, joyous news. Okay, so now moving back on to the final three shimmers. Okay, so for that first purpley shimmer, in the swatch, it's giving me kind of like purpley pinky shimmers, kind of more like a purpley red shift to this shade. Really pretty, not gonna lie. Wish I could buy these last three shades on their own because they are all so pretty, but I do feel like I can emulate the same vibe using stuff that I have and just doing a little mixology. So for the base, I'm gonna be using the shade Bigwig in the Jackie Aina ABH palette, and it's gonna look a little funky at first, but wait till I add the shimmer topper and it's all gonna come together. Oh no, spoiler, it's on my hand, I was practicing. Okay, let me close my fist so you can't see it. All right, we got our deep purple base here. So now, on top of that, I'm dipping back into my Amorous Beauty Lady Boss palette. I'm going to dip into the shade Femme here, which is a beautiful shimmery pink shade, and I'm gonna use that as a topper for this shade. Yes, okay, yup, that's what I'm going for. Okay. There's that shift I was aiming for. That's what I was going for. I was going for that reddish purple shift. You know what? I feel like that's as close as I'm gonna get, and I'm perfectly fine with that. This is my version of that shade. Okay, so now we can move on to the next shade, which I'm so excited about. So first things first, the shade I'm gonna show you, I'm wearing on my lids. And I feel like it's a really good dupe for that second to last shade. So let me show you my method to this shade. Okay, so like I was telling you earlier, the base that I put on my eyes is Dahlia from the Menagerie Cosmetics Flower Bomb palette. This beautiful, vibrant, pinkish burgundy tone. We love her so much. She's beautiful. So that is our starter swatch here. We don't need too much of her, you know, she's just our base color. And now we're gonna dip into a shade, which if you are not new to my channel, you've probably heard me rave about the Copacetic Cosmetics Companion palette a million times. I love the Copacetic Cosmetics Companion palette, and I love the shade Robin. It is like one of my favorite duochromes of all time. I mean, get a load of Robin. She is so pretty, and wait till you see what happens when I layer this shade on top of Dahlia. Okay, are you ready? Are you ready? Do you have a drink in your mouth? Swallow it so you don't do a, you know, a spit take. And would you get a load of this swatch? Look! Do you see that shift? Oh my gosh, it's so pretty. I feel like it looks better on the eyes than it does in my swatch, but this is what it looks like on the eyes. You know what, maybe I should have put some glitter glue down because I did use this NYX glitter primer on my eyes. Do we think that would make a difference on the arm? You know what, we're doing it, we're trying it. I'm gonna take a little bit of NYX glitter primer because I just feel like you look at the shade on my eyes and you look at the swatch and you would like not think that was on my eyes, but it is, you guys, it is. So maybe we just need a little bit of NYX glitter primer here. Glitter primer, I cannot say those words. Okay, now let's dip into Robin one more time because I've really hyped this shade up and I'm not gonna allow us to move on until you get the hype. Okay, that helped a little bit. I mean, you can definitely see the shift more. I still feel like it looks more like the shade on my eyes than in the swatch, but I know in my heart of hearts that it is a perfect dupe and I am freaking thrilled about it. Oh my gosh, this is so pretty. Okay, so moving on to my very last shade. Ugh, RIP, already at the end of the palette. I'm having such a good time. The base for this last shade is going back to that shade Desire in the Zodiac Cosmetics Virgo palette. If you'll recall, I used a little bit of Desire to create this shade. We love Desire, she's beautiful, and that is gonna be our base for this last shade here. Oh, we're giving you a thick swatch. We're going out with a bang here. Okay, so then this shade I'm swatching on top of that is also from the Zodiac Cosmetics Virgo palette. Virgos loving Virgos, you love to see it. So this shade is called Love. It's such a pretty purpley shimmer, and when combined with Desire, it's a little unreal. It's a little unreal for certain. But yeah, so then that is my last swatch. Oh my gosh, they got so thick at the end. You can tell I'm not a professional swatcher. You know, I'm more better at putting the eyeshadow on my eyes than on my arms, but I will continue practicing. Maybe I need to get one of those cool stickers. You know how like people who do swatches will put like stickers on their arms? If you know where to get those, let me know in the comments because I would love to do a better job swatching in the future. But I kinda feel like I nailed it here. I mean, let's give an honest self-evaluation. Okay, I will try my best to be honest. This shade could be a little more gray. This shade Ametrine from the So Jaded palette, I was pretty confident about before, and now that I'm looking at the swatches side by side, I'm like, okay, maybe that confidence was not warranted as much as I thought it was. But you know what, we'll come back to it. How about I put a little bit of this gray shade over it? See if that makes it more gray. Does adding gray to something that is not gray make that shade suddenly gray? I don't know, you tell me. I mean, a little bit, it's still very warm. It's fine. Like I said, this shade, and this shade are 3 shades that I would never wear, ever. I know that my shade doesn't look exactly like the shade in the palette, but the first shade and the 3rd and 4th shade are all shades I would never wear. So I'm not that upset that this shade doesn't look exactly right. But I feel like with the rest of the palette, I did pretty well. I still think this shade looks a tinge more blue just because I added too much of that blue shade, but honestly, that's fine. You know, I could work it out on the eyes for sure. I could just keep blending and blending and blending and blending and blending and it would be fine. So it's all good. Oh, and let me insert a nicer photo of my arm swatches here so you can see. Hopefully you can really see the side by side. Actually, I'll probably end up doing like a collage of them next to each other of like the Menagerie swatches and of my swatches so you can really see a good side by side. I'm giving you all of the visuals here, you know, we're breaking it down. Just to remind you, I am wearing this shade in my crease, Ultraviolet, from the By Mel Lops Radioactive palette, and then I am wearing this shade, Dahlia, which is slightly mixed with Desire on my arm, but on my lid I'm just wearing Dahlia from the Flower Bomb palette, and then on top of that I layered Robin from the Copacetic Cosmetics palette, which would in turn be this beautiful shimmer. And I was able to achieve a look that, to me, I feel like this look definitely looks like Menagerie Cosmetics Flight Club palette vibes. So I'm thrilled about it. I feel like this palette, if it were 9 shades instead of 12, I would have been much more apt to buy it. Like I said, if they just nixed those 3 shades I didn't really want, I definitely would have been more apt to buy it, because that's my rule. If there's 3 shades I'm not gonna use, I don't want to buy the palette because it doesn't feel like I'm fully getting my money's worth. So I would love to hear your thoughts down below. Are you guys picking up the Menagerie Cosmetics Flight Club palette? Are you duping it out yourself? Do you have a lot of purple eyeshadows in your collection? Are there any purple single shadows that you would want to recommend to me? Anything from Cleona? I want to buy something from Cleona so bad, and all of their purples look so beautiful. I just cannot make a decision. So drop all of your purple single shadow recommendations down below for me. And you know, if you don't have any recommendations, that's okay. Just say hi in my comments. I would love to chat with you. So I thank you so much for watching this video. Definitely check out my Club Nebula palette duping video too. I love doing videos like this. If there's ever a palette that you would like to see me have duped, definitely let me know, because I love doing this. This is so much fun. And yeah, thank you so much for watching. Check out my description box for all of the stuff I just mentioned. Also, in my description box, I have a bunch of Black Lives Matter resources. I have petitions to sign, places to donate, and ways to help protesters. So please click on those links if you have the time. And I thank you so much for watching, and I'll dupe you later. Okay, all right, bye guys, thank you.